Hello, my beautiful yellowbone, redbone, butter pecan, caramel, butterscotch, toffee, mocha, chocolate, cocoa exoticals. Welcome to the Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to the Exoticals United community. If you are new here, welcome. Here in the Exoticals United community, we support men and women from the following people groups: multiracials, biracials, multi-generationally mixed, and light-skinned golden people. Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to another episode of the Dark Femininity series. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about how I used dark femininity to level up socially, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So, one of the problems that I used to have in my 20s was I used to get into these dusty relationships, or I used to get into these 50-50 style relationships. And as time would go on and I would be with the guy for like a few months or a year or something like that, I started to gradually get too comfortable, and I noticed that I would start to let my own goals kind of fall by the wayside. So instead of working on my business or working on my YouTube or working on Instagram, I would be thinking about, oh, how can I impress my boyfriend? How can I spend more time with him? How can I, make myself more desirable to him? And those are not bad things. Like, it's not bad to invest in your relationship if you're in a healthy relationship. But when I look back on my own life, like when I was in my 20s, I lacked a sense of balance. And so I definitely used to center men. I definitely used to be a pick-me-sha when I was younger. I think we've all been there, but it's okay because we are going to talk about how I leveled up. So I remember I used to spend so much time with boyfriends. Like, I'm talking about just sitting there talking for a long time, or just like hanging out for a long time, to the point where my workout routine would fall by the wayside. I would start gaining weight because I would be eating a lot more, or just kind of like being lazy overall, because I feel like if you are a black woman or you've been influenced by the black culture, I feel like a lot of black women have been socialized to settle. I think a lot of black women have been socialized to kind of take what they can get and kind of live life in survival mode. I've noticed that there's this talking point in the black community where it's like, okay, as long as you're not in prison and as long as you are not like begging on the street for cash, then you're good. But I think that that's actually a very bare minimum mindset to have. And so I think that I was influenced by that culture as well, especially going to an HBCU. People kind of teach you that, like, as long as you have a stable job and you can pay your own bills, then you are successful. And I'm not saying that you're not successful if you have a stable job, but I know that for me personally, my dreams and goals in life are bigger than that. I don't want to just work and then come home and then repeat until I die. I want to travel. I want to experience life. I want to experience different cultures. I want to pursue my passions and do different hobbies. And so I felt like when I was in my 20s, I definitely got caught up in the mundane day-to-day routine of just working, coming home, or like spending time with my boyfriend and then just repeating it. And so one of the very first things that I did to restart my physical level up journey was I just started going on walks. So when I was in my 20s, there was a time when I got so out of shape and like weak to where my endurance level was just not strong. So I wasn't strong enough to go running yet. I wasn't really strong enough to like lift a bunch of weights and do all those fancy CrossFit workouts that you see on Instagram. But I decided to start somewhere. So I would just start going on walks out on the trails. I started going on hikes and just looking at the pretty trees and looking at the flowers or looking at the ocean and things like that. And the fun thing about going out in nature was that looking at the scenery of what everything looked like as I was walking, it actually distracted me from how much of a workout I was actually getting. So I started off saying, okay, I'm just going to give myself a timer of 30 minutes and I'm just going to go on a walk for that long. And so then I would do that, and then before I knew it, I stopped using the timer and I would just keep walking for a long time and just kind of enjoying the sights. And then the next thing I know, I was walking 5 miles a day. And then I got up to like 7 miles a day, and then 10 miles a day. And then I started being able to walk on hills. And so I was gradually kind of building my fitness level up so that I could start enjoying myself again. And also it helped me to stay snatched and getting that exotical tax. Something else that I used to struggle with when I was in college was eating a lot of junk food. So you guys know that when you're like living the dorm life, you eat a lot of ramen, you eat lots of processed food, and so I was no different. I didn't gain the freshman 15. It wasn't until my sophomore year of college when I like got a boyfriend or whatever, and I was just kind of hanging around him. And of course, he didn't eat healthy. He ate like a typical early 20s guy. And so I just kind of followed along with what he was doing or whatever. And that's another tip. That's another thing that actually helped me to glow up, was to not always follow what other people were doing in my environment, because I had to realize that like not everybody's going down the same path as me. And yes, I have to be honest. I do feel like the path that I'm taking in life, it is superior to some of the other people who have like kind of a lower level mindset. A lot of people in the new age space or whatever, or like in these little motivational spaces online, they talk about high vibrational versus low vibrational. Okay, so then that is proof that the high vibrational mindset or whatever is technically superior to the low vibrational mindset. So it's like, if that means I have a superiority complex, then fuck it, because I guess I do. Not everyone has the same path, and not everybody wants to go down the same path in life. And so that's something that I had to realize. But when it came to my nutrition, the way that I was able to get back on track with that was I started off by eating something healthy on the side. So, for example, I am addicted to pizza. I freaking love pizza. I still love it to this day. But back then, I was like, okay, I need to get at least somewhat healthy. So instead of just eating the pizza, I'm going to eat a salad first. And then, like, if I still have any space in my stomach, then I will eat a pizza. And so that helped me to kind of incorporate at least a little bit more nutrition into my diet. And then when I did that, I noticed that my taste buds started to kind of change. And then I started craving more healthy foods. And then as the months went on, before I knew it, I was like making these fruit smoothies. Oh, and by the way, this is really random, but like when I was in college, I started getting to the point where I could meal prep. And so I would make like maybe 3 or 4 smoothies for the next couple of days, and I would put them in the fridge. And then I noticed my roommates, they got all like jealous or whatever, because they were like, oh, she's always using the blender. Oh my God, it's so loud. Oh, she's so annoying, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, these were girls that were like from Brooklyn and stuff. And I remember one of them even threatened to fight me because she thought I was like being disrespectful by using the blender because it was like annoying people. But that goes back to my talking point about your environment, because I don't actually feel like me using the blender was annoying people, because it's not like I was using the blender when everybody was sleeping or like I was purposely trying to be loud. I was just trying to level up, and I felt like the roommates that I had at the time could see that, and so they were kind of threatened by that. They saw me like getting up, putting on my little workout outfit and drinking my smoothies and going to the gym. They saw that I had gotten a job and I was kind of saving my money and purchasing myself like these little cute outfits or whatever. So I felt like they were threatened by that. I'm sure that a lot of you guys here in the Pretty Girl Club can relate to that sort of thing, where whenever you start leveling up, like let's say you're losing weight and everybody else around you is overweight, or let's say you start saving money and everybody else around you is broke as fuck, then suddenly they want to start commenting on everything you're doing. Suddenly they want to start saying, oh, you're being so uptight. Oh my God, why are you starving yourself? Oh my God, you eating like a rabbit. Oh my God, don't nobody want to eat that nasty stuff. You know, they start talking all this crap and like trying to discourage you and take you off of your path. And I've totally experienced that before. Like, I've had people tell me that I'm anorexic, I'm too skinny. Meanwhile, I was not too skinny. I definitely still had hips. I still had like boobs or whatever. I still had a little booty, but I just wasn't overweight. Like, nothing was hanging off the side. I didn't have like a huge muffin top or anything. And apparently in the black community, if you don't have a huge muffin top and like a 60-inch butt, then apparently you are anorexic. So, yeah, I know what it's like to have people try to discourage you or whatever. And I just had to keep in mind what my personal goals were. That was something that helped me to level up, was like, hey, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this so I can fit in with these other girls. Yes, maybe they like having big butts. Maybe they like being 250 pounds. Maybe they like being obese. Maybe they like when their thighs rub together. Maybe they like sitting on people. I don't know, and I don't care. Okay, the life that I'm living is my life, and I'm living it for me. But another thing that I did that helped me on my pretty girl glow up journey was I started taking care of my skin. So when I was in my 20s, I was pretty broke. I was just in college and kind of working like a part-time job. It was literally $9 an hour. So I did not have money to spend on expensive skincare. And so what I did was I would just go to Trader Joe's. I would walk to the Trader Joe's in my neighborhood and I would get a $4 thing of honey that was on sale. And then I would mix that with some of the green tea that you can buy just at any grocery store. I would take the little leaves out of the green tea bag and then I would just mix it in and create a facial, or I would mix like maybe some baking soda, maybe some lemon, or just whatever ingredients I had around the house. And I started making my own facials. And when I did that, it totally healed up my skin. I used to have little dark marks from acne scars, like if I would wear makeup that was bad for my skin or whatever. Sometimes it would kind of clog my pores, and so I had those little scars that you get on the side of your face. So ever since I had started doing that, I totally healed my skin. I also got a giant water bottle and I started drinking at least 1 gallon of water per day. And I started drinking at least 2 cups of herbal tea every single day. Herbal tea really reacts well with my body. So I started drinking at least 2 to 3 cups per day. I did bamboo leaf tea. That tea really grows your hair out very well. So I did this little experiment where I measured my hair before I started drinking it, and then I measured it again after I started drinking it. It did grow about 1.5 inches within the first month of me drinking bamboo leaf tea. So I'm glad that I did that. And then I started also drinking things like peppermint tea or vanilla tea, just anything that is meant to help your skin or anything that's anti-inflammatory, and that definitely helped me to glow up when it came to my skincare. Another thing that I started doing was about once every 2 weeks, I would have an entire day where I would just do beauty treatments for myself. So I have not always been able to afford to go to spas and things like that. So when I couldn't afford it, I would just have a day at home where I would do my deep conditioning routine. I would do like some sort of mask, but not on my face. So I would like get bentonite clay and apple cider vinegar and mix it together. And then I would put that on my legs because I have strawberry legs. So I would put that on my legs to help heal any like ingrown hairs or bumps or anything. Sometimes I would do like a foot scrub or something like that. Another thing that really helped me to glow up and social climb was fashion. So I've always been into fashion. I love kind of the more sleek, elegant look. And at the time that I first started getting into fashion, I was really interested in going into more of a professional space. I really wanted to work like in politics or in journalism or at a lobbying firm or somewhere where there's like a requirement to wear suits. So what I would do is I would just go to a thrift store and I would get like a cute blazer, and then I would cut the shoulder pads out of it because I don't like shoulder pads. So I would cut the shoulder pads out and then make that little blazer look cute on me. And then before I knew it, I had my own little unique sense of style, and it really helped me to stand out. And I actually was able to get a journalism internship because of one of my thrifted outfits. It was because I went to a career fair and the lady literally just liked the outfit that I was wearing. And so she struck up a conversation with me, and then I was able to get an internship because of that. So you never know how grooming yourself can like lead to better opportunities. And I feel like this is something that, again, I think in the Black community, a lot of people, for whatever reason, they tend to promote just kind of like this ratchet culture or only using sexuality to get the things that you want. But you don't always have to use sexuality. You can use other things to get what you want, such as fashion or, just the way that you present yourself, the way that you speak, the way that you carry yourself. Those things can help you to get ahead in a professional setting as well. So now let's get into the emotional glow up. So again, I feel like for those of you who have been raised in the Black community, or maybe you've only been socialized in that community, you may not be very aware of mental health or even aware of like what certain mental illnesses are. Maybe you were raised by a narcissistic mother. Maybe you have mental illnesses that are running rampant in your family right now, and it causes you to not know how to combat it. I know that in my family, I was raised in an extremely Christian background, to the point where my family would make comments like, oh no, we're not run by our emotions. We're run by like the word of God. And, I don't listen to my emotions. And so it was almost promoting this narrative that like emotions don't exist, or that emotions somehow come from the devil, or that they are somehow meant to hold you back from kind of like this higher purpose. And so when I was a little girl, I didn't listen to my own emotions. So let's say I was around a certain group of friends and I didn't feel peace. Like I had never really listened to that intuition or whatever because I believed that, oh, emotions are irrelevant. Well, that's a very toxic belief. And so I think that one of the main fundamentals of mental health is being aware of your emotions, being aware of your emotional triggers. So, is there a certain person that you hang around and, like, whenever you're around this person, they make you feel emotionally unsafe? Maybe you feel like you can't open up like you want to. Maybe you feel like you can't be yourself like how you want to. I know that I have felt that way before. And so, what I've learned as I've gotten older is that I have to remove myself from those situations because I always want to be in a place where I'm celebrated. I don't want to go in a place where people are just tolerating me. And this is a part of why I made the Exoticals United community, because I felt like in the Black women empowerment space, I was just being tolerated. I don't feel like I was being celebrated. I don't feel like my phenotype was being celebrated. I don't feel like my story was being celebrated. I don't feel like my identity was being celebrated or validated. And so that's why I created this channel, was to create a validating, safe space for other people who are like me, for other people who don't fit the average stereotype of what a quote unquote woman of color or a Black woman or whatever is supposed to be. Or maybe you don't even fit the stereotype of what a mixed person is supposed to look like. Maybe you are mixed race, but you are not white passing. You are not 50% white. That's what this space is for. This space is for the people who feel like they genuinely do not fit into any of those categories, and you want to come to a place where you can finally take a deep breath and feel like you will be seen and heard and validated. So this is why emotions are important, because your emotions are often like trying to tell you something. So for example, let's say you have a boyfriend and he has a friend who's a girl, and whenever that girl comes around, something doesn't sit right with you emotionally. Or maybe when he's interacting with that girl, something in your emotions is like going off, like the alarm bells are going off, and you feel like, hey, there's something fishy about this, but I don't know what it is. That is your emotions or your subconscious mind trying to tell you that, hey, this is a red flag. I don't like this situation. I don't like how I feel. And so one of the things I had to learn was I had to learn how to be self-aware, and I had to learn how to describe my own emotions and how to pinpoint those emotions and how to name those emotions. So you know how I make videos where I'm like, oh, the Black women empowerment space, they're just jealous or whatever? It's because I do feel like a lot of the emotions that those women are exhibiting, that's an emotion of jealousy. Like if you are mad that this woman is getting chosen and picked to date this guy and you're not getting picked on a dating app, that emotion is called jealousy. You want what someone else has. You're mad that you don't have that thing. By the way, jealousy is a normal human emotion. And so you have to learn how to have positive coping mechanisms or healthy coping mechanisms for jealousy. So for example, I know that for me personally, if I'm ever feeling jealous, it's because deep down inside, I want what that other person has. So for example, actually, I've dealt with jealousy, like I'm jealous of people who are like quote unquote super rich or whatever. You know, those people that are like, they're just born multi-billionaires and like they have all these opportunities. Well, I know that any jealousy that I would experience, it's because deep down inside, I personally would like to have that level of wealth. So the way that I solved that jealousy was, instead of just getting mad and talking shit about the Kardashians, for example, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm only feeling this way because deep down inside, I want to be able to be a full-time influencer. I want to be able to take cute pictures on Instagram and, wear these cute clothes. And I want to be able to travel the world. And I want to be able to speak about the things that I care about. I want to be able to help a lot of people, and I want to experience different cultures and be able to have this fluid identity where I can just like wear any hairstyle that I want, wear any makeup look that I want, and just kind of live this soft life, for lack of better words. And so instead of wasting my time being angry that somebody else is doing that, why don't I just go out and pursue the thing that I really want, which is the thing that those other people already have. They have the ability to pursue their dreams full time. So even though their dreams may be different than mine, because I don't want to be on a reality show or anything, they still get to spend 40 hours a week pursuing their dreams. So I decided, okay, I'm going to spend more time pursuing my dreams. That was how I was able to solve jealousy. Or for example, with someone else's body. That's another area where I've experienced jealousy when I was younger. But instead of focusing all of my energy and attention on, oh, well, these body standards that people have, they're just not fair. Everybody only likes girls that have XYZ body type. No, I realized, wait a minute, deep down inside, I am not happy with the way my body looks, and I know that I need to work out and get in shape and do things to improve myself. And so I'm going to go and lose 30 pounds. I'm going to go and lift weights. I'm going to go and do some squats. I'm going to go do some sit-ups to improve my body. I genuinely think that jealousy comes from doubting my own worth and doubting my own ability to achieve something. And so I think that that is why in the past I was triggered by others' achievement. And this is the same pattern that I've noticed with a lot of women on YouTube that complain about things like beauty standards, or they complain about things like, oh, everybody's racist, colorist, texturist, and featurist. You'll show them a dark-skinned, unambiguous woman who is successful and beautiful and married and has a successful relationship, and then they'll still say, oh, well, no, that's not going to help me. And it's even though you just prove them wrong by showing them someone who looks like them, who is successful, the reason that they can't see it that way is because deep down inside, the feelings that they feel, they are usually coming from a place of deep-rooted jealousy. It's because they want to be in the position of the person that they're jealous of. And by the way, jealousy is a normal human emotion, and when you are experiencing jealousy, again, this is your mind trying to tell you, hey, this is the route that I want to go down. I want to be the star. I want to be able to pursue my dreams full time. I want to be able to look pretty on my pictures and show off my body and embrace my beauty and show it off to the world. I want to be the influencer. And so I am upset when I see someone else doing that because I know that I have the ability to do that just as good as the Kardashians, or even better than the Kardashians, or whatever. I know that I have the ability and the power and the talents and the gifts to do the same thing, but I'm not doing it because I'm afraid and I'm insecure and I'm afraid of being seen. And so the side effect of that's going to manifest is that feeling of jealousy. So it's totally normal. And again, I feel like if you've been socialized in the Black community for whatever reason, they don't ever admitting when they're jealous of something. And for whatever reason, that's the worst thing that you can call someone in the Black community is jealous. And I don't know why that is. I've noticed that in the African American community in general, there's just this lack of vulnerability. This is for both the women and the men. A lot of people, they lack vulnerability. And so let's say you were raised by a Black mother, or maybe a Black father, or maybe you were just raised in the Black community. Maybe you didn't learn that sense of vulnerability. Maybe you didn't learn that jealousy is actually a normal emotion that every human will experience at some point in your lifetime. There's no such thing as a human being that has never felt jealous of anything or anyone. There's no such thing. And anyone who tells you they've never been jealous is probably the most jealous person that you'll ever come across. So the way that I've been able to work through emotions like jealousy is by admitting to myself that, hey, deep down inside, I want to be wealthy. That's why I have sometimes been triggered in the past when I see wealthy people who don't have to go to their 9-to-5 jobs. They don't have to wake up early. They get to go on vacations whenever they want. The reason that I have felt triggered is because deep down inside, I don't want to have to go to a 9-to-5. I want to be a multi-billionaire. I mean, who doesn't? So it's a totally normal thing to admit to yourself. You don't even have to say it out loud to other people. You don't have to go around telling people, hey, I'm jealous of you. You don't have to do that. But admitting it to yourself and then working through it and saying, hey, I think that I actually do want to go down this same path that they're going down. I just don't know how to do it. That's actually the first step to finding healing. And then instead of being jealous of that person, you can actually begin to learn from that person and say, hey, wait a minute, what did the Kardashians do to get to where they are? Because even though they were born rich, they were not born famous. So what did they do to the point where they were able to be influencers? Oh, okay. So I see that they learned how to do makeup. Okay, I see that they learned how to network. I see that they learned how to brand themselves and how to hire people and invest their money in their own businesses so that they can become more successful. Okay, so that's something that I can learn from now. So how can I do that in my own life? And that was how I started my own personal, like, emotional level up journey, was becoming more self-aware. Another thing that I feel triggers a lot of people's jealousy, including my own in the past, is fear of loss. So for a lot of people, you fear losing someone else's love or someone else's affection or someone's attention, or maybe you fear losing opportunities or losing a job. Because I've noticed, like, with the whole colorism, texturism, featureism argument, this is about fear of loss. So these women who feel like they don't have pretty privilege, they feel like, they're afraid that they have lost life opportunities because of being ugly, or they feel like they have lost out on love because they don't look a certain way. They feel like they've lost out on potentially being an influencer or kind of living this jet-setting lifestyle because of their skin tone. And if you can address that fear of loss, you actually can overcome the jealousy. Because just because you're quote unquote ugly, let's say you're genuinely an ugly person, just because you're ugly, this doesn't mean that you can't travel the world. It doesn't mean that you can't experience love. It doesn't mean that you can't experience all the same things as a quote unquote pretty girl. So one thing that helped me was to stop being afraid of losing things, because even if I do lose out on love, let's say I never get married, let's say I never get to travel to Paris or whatever place I want to go to, let's say I never get to be a multi-billionaire, that does not affect my worth as a human being, and I don't allow the loss of opportunities to cause depression for me. But for some people, having a loss of opportunities, it does cause them depression. And I would say that if you genuinely feel like you will be depressed if you can't travel, then go travel and do everything in your power to make sure that you travel. Don't depend on others' acceptance and don't depend on other people to cause you to travel. Save up your own money and create your own reality. Create your own reality, create your own lifestyle to the point where you can travel and do everything in your power to make sure that you meet that goal. Because if it's that important to you, then yes, it is worth pursuing. So that's why I say that for some of these people, especially like some of the divestors or the women who talk the most crap about black men, it's like, okay, obviously black men are very important to you and you actually do want a black guy because you're spending all of your time talking about him or whatever. So it's like, if he's that important to you, maybe you should actually go date a black guy, go date your own counterpart, and then just go ahead and get that out of your system if you need to, or marry somebody like that if you can. And then if it doesn't exist, then you're going to have to learn how to grieve your losses. Because at the end of the day, one thing that I've had to learn is that throughout life, I will experience loss. People will pass away, friendships will end, relationships will end, jobs will end, opportunities will end. So again, this is a part of growing and maturing as an adult. Once again, I feel like in the African American community, there's a lack of knowledge when it comes to mental health. There's a lack of knowledge when it comes to emotional maturity and understanding that yes, throughout life you will experience loss. Not every guy is going to like you on a dating app. Not every guy is going to want to date you. Not every person is going to find you attractive. Not every person is going to like your hair texture. Not every person is going to like your face. Not every person will like your skin tone. This is a normal part of living in the world that we live in. And by the way, those things that I just said, they're true for you regardless of your race. This is true for white girls, that's true for black girls, that's true for Asian girls. Not everybody's going to like how you look. Not everybody's going to want to date you. Not everyone will want to marry you. And so loss is a normal part of life. There's nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to losing a relationship or losing an opportunity or not getting a job. And I feel like, unfortunately, in the African American community, a lot of people have a hard time moving on. And a lot of people have a hard time moving forward and letting go of the past. I've noticed that it's almost a cultural norm in the Black community to hold on to the losses of the past. I hear so many people talking about, like, oh, well, slavery and racism and colorism, and this guy, he traumatized me, and he broke up with me, and oh, my baby mama did this, and my baby daddy did that, and then this guy did this. And it's like, those things, I am sorry that those things happen, and yes, you're right, those things are horrible, but when are you going to move on and begin to enjoy your life? It's not a crime to move on and begin to enjoy yourself. It's not a crime to move on and say, hey, you know what, despite my losses, despite the things that I didn't get, I'm going to enjoy the things that I did get, and I'm going to enjoy the opportunities that I do have. I may never be as rich as the Kardashians. I may never be as famous as Beyonce. I may never have as perfect of a body as somebody that's had plastic surgery. But does that mean I have to be depressed because of it? Does that mean I have to be angry because of it? What's a better option? Being depressed and angry because I don't have those things, or having a state of acceptance about the life that I'm in and then making the best of what I have right now? So changing my mindset in that area is something that really helped me a lot when it came to leveling up mentally and emotionally. And it actually helped me to improve my life just in general, because I wasn't so busy focused on what everyone else has and what I don't have. I was able to make the best of what I had. So instead of saying, hey, I'm mad that I'm making $9 an hour, I was like, you know what? I'm grateful that I'm even making this $9 an hour in my 20s, and I'm going to take the money that I have from my $9 and I'm going to save it up, and I'm going to move to an area with a better cost of living. Then I'm going to save up even more money, and then I'm going to get a better job, and then I'm going to keep on going after the things that I want. So that helped me so much when I was in my 20s. It helped me to not be so upset when it came to looking at what others had on Instagram and stuff like that. And I just feel like it helped me to get out of that comparison cycle. Something else that I did on my pretty girl level up journey was I had to learn how to level up socially. So I kind of felt like there's no point in having all these cute clothes, having all this money, or having all this stuff if I don't actually get out and try to enjoy it. So one thing that I had to do to level up socially was I had to step out of my comfort zone and actually do my hobbies. Instead of just talking about them or thinking about them, I had to actually go out for the things that I wanted. So when I was in my early 20s, I was really into fashion. I still am. And I always wanted to try coordinating events or working behind the scenes at a fashion show. Not just being in a fashion show, but also working behind the scenes, kind of helping style people, helping to do the makeup and stuff like that. So what I did was I started making friends with girls who also were makeup artists, and girls who did hair, and girls who were into fashion styling. And then I started kind of networking with those girls and asking them hey, do you know of any events that are going on in the area? Are you going to any of them? Do you want to hang out and go to one together? And that was how I was able to get into these cool fashion shows and have all of these really awesome memories. So I would say think about your life and think about the type of lifestyle you want to live. Do you want to go to fashion shows? Do you want to experience fine dining restaurants? Do you want to know what it's like to go sailing or snorkeling? Or is there anything that you've always kind of dreamed about doing, but maybe you never did it because it doesn't fit in with the stereotypes of your ethnicity, or maybe you just are scared to try it, or maybe you don't have anyone to do it with, and so you're afraid of doing it by yourself? Can you get out of your comfort zone? Is there a Facebook group that has opportunities to travel? Because that's something that I was looking into. When I first moved to a new city by myself, I was like, okay, let me find a travel group for women so that I don't have to go out of the country just all by myself where I don't speak the language or anything. At least I'll have a group of people that I'm going with. So are there any Facebook groups that you can join, or some sort of group chat or a WhatsApp group where you guys can talk about ways that you're going to go travel? Because that could help you to feel safer as well. Anyway, those are just some of the tips and ways that I learned how to level up. Let me know what you think of this video in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.